think we're live. There we are. Awesome. Well, give it a few minutes. It's 2:57. Give it a few minutes for some people to come on. If you do hop on, please type in the chat. Let me know you're out there. The chat is waiting for new messages. Oh, I need to turn on the chat here too, don't I? And I'll turn off the AC. Hello, beautiful. Don Reed has joined me. Oh. Got up early this morning, like every morning. I'm hungry. After we get done with this, I need to grab some walnuts because we won't eat till after happy hour. Oh, I know what I forgot to do. This should make it a lot better. Alrighty. All right, how's that sound? Don Yvonne, does that sound okay to you? The audio sound a little bit better? Let's get this thing rolling. We can hear you. Awesome. I got 1 more minute. I'm going to give it 1 more minute before I get this thing rolling. Great. I'd like to talk to somebody. I talk to you all day. Not that I don't like talking to you. I love talking to you, but you know the stuff I'm going to talk about. Hopefully somebody else will join us. Just chopped liver. Hello, Jan Marie. Hello, Marco. Awesome. Chopped liver. No, you're not chopped liver. If you are, then I'll for some reason, I start liking liver. I can talk to you. Awesome. Thank you. Give me somebody to talk to. It's 3 o'clock and we're going to get started. So if you guys, I'm assuming, what the heck? I'm assuming that you saw my thumbnail about today's subject, and that is how to look, how to feel, how to be 10 years younger than you actually are. Hi, Wanda. And why do I say that? So I'm going to go back, I'm going to rewind the clock back to August of 2023. In August of 2023, Dawn and I went to Oklahoma. I was sitting on about 240 pounds, had no energy, had lots of pain in my feet, just stiff kind of everywhere. I had, I guess, inflation. Inflammation. That's the other subject. Hey, Rob. Yes, I am still in Belize. We are going to be in Belize for a while. We're thinking we're going to be in Belize at least for a couple months. I think in April or May, we're going to go to the States for about 2 weeks just to take care of some things, wrap some things up. Hey, Jen. And then we're going to come back and we're going to stay in Belize. We will start boat shopping, and because we're looking at a new boat. an ocean crossing trawler, and then we are then once we find a boat, then we'll probably leave. We needed to be here at least a year to get our citizenship, and that kind of brings me around to why Dawn and I did what we did. So the most important thing is, I believe that most people know, and Dawn says this. A bad eating plan is better than no eating plan. A bad exercise plan is better than no exercise plan. A bad plan of anything is better than no plan, because a no plan, you end up in God knows where. And so Dawn and I, our goals, just to be quite frank, we started off when we first met with some pretty ambitious goals, and we were working on them pretty heavily for about 3 or 4 years. And then we were helping people. We had a life strategy practice that was growing, and we kind of got off the rails a little bit on our own dreams. And we started to let some things slack. We started to not hold ourselves or each other accountable. And, just life kind of got in the way, and it does. And then 2020 hit, and y'all know our story about 2020 and how awful that was, and oh my God, it was a nightmare. And things started to change, and we started to change, and we first started with finances, and that's where, because that was our biggest problem at the time. And they say money can't buy happiness. I like what Cardone says. Maybe not, but it'll make you enthusiastic as a motherfucker. So we were working on the money part of it. But and when somebody says, like, money's not the only thing, it's not the most important thing, you're right, it's not. But what happens when you start getting your money taken care of? Then what do you work on? Watching more TV? We started working on seeing that there were other areas of our life. We got the relationship thing down. We're like this. We're tight. We're happy. We love each other. We're more in love with each other than we were when we first met. Things are going good. We're making money. Like, what else is there? Our dreams. Our dreams. And although we love living in Belize, Belize is amazing. It is a great place to be. We love the pace here. We love the no commercialism and all that. It's awesome. But it's not where we want to stay forever. It may be a place to come recharge our batteries, but we want to explore the world. And so we're looking at expedition trawlers, and that was our goal. But here's the thing. Now let's go back to August of 2023. So we go to Oklahoma. I'm 240 pounds. I'm feeling sluggish. I don't have any energy. I'm not sleeping well. I'm snoring like a broken chainsaw. In fact, Don had a different one. A broken chainsaw being started by Sasquatch, blah, blah, blah. And so anyway, we get back from Oklahoma. And in the meantime, we got introduced to some biohackers. And this is where this is starting to go. So we get introduced to some biohackers, and we start following them and start listening to some of the things they're saying. One of them was saying that his goal is to live to be 150 years old. And you're like, 150? Come on. A grizzly bear operating a chainsaw during a thunderstorm. There you go. He's saying that he wants to live to 150 years old. And then the eye rolling starts, right? It's like, oh, yeah, right. Wouldn't we all? And then the question from the person interviewing said, what makes you think that you can live 150 years old? Because nobody has yet. And he said, because we have not, with all the technology that we've had up till now, we have not extended human life. Now, okay, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, well, of course we have. We used to live to be an average of, 70 years old, and now we're living to 80s and 90s. And so we've extended human life. No, we haven't, because the oldest human beings on the planet were living to about 120 years old. And that's been for a long ass time. So what we have done is we've helped more people live longer, but we have not extended the ultimate length of human life. And most people have believed that it's not possible. Like, that's just biochemically, genetically, we are programmed internally to self-destruct by the time we get to 120 years, if we haven't destroyed the machine already, or broke it somehow, overdose, too much drinking, car wreck, hit by a bus, whatever. But if we were able to stay out of the way of lions, tigers, and bears, oh my, then we could live to 120 years old. I think the oldest living human being, I'd have to look, I didn't Google that, 122 years old, something like that. And he's saying this is before we had antibiotics, this is before we had surgeries, this is before we learned about genetics, and how we've learned about the biology, human biology, and how human biology works. And up till 5-10 years ago, and I didn't write these numbers down. You're gonna have to fact check me on it and correct me if I'm wrong. But it was about every 7 years, the knowledge of human biology, it was 7 years, it was a lot longer than that. It might have been 10 or 20 years. The knowledge of human biology doubled. And now it's like it's doubling every 72 hours or something. 122. The average, the length of time that the knowledge of human biology now is doubling like every 7 hours. And how has that happened? It's because of technology. It's because of AI. It's because of supercomputing. It's all of these things here. And so what they're doing is they're learning more and more and more about human beings and how they work and how they really function. What are the essential hormones? What are the essential nutrients that the human body needs? What are things that we're feeding it that we don't need, and all of this stuff? And he's saying, once you add all that, he says, here's the thing. It creates a bit of a problem, and that is, first of all, let's say hypothetically that you could live 150 years old. And I'm not saying my goal is to live to 150 years old. I mean, I'm not that deep into it to know if that's true or not. But here's what I do know. Let me, before I go there, let's say you could live to 150 years old. Here's the problem. Do you have the financial means to make it to 150 years? Is your retirement going to last you long that? Is your investments going to last you 150 years? Because guess what? At 97 or 113, they're not hiring you. You won't be able to have a job. So number one, could you even afford to? And then the other thing, well, even before you get to that, can you afford to take advantage of the technology to get you to that place? So you got two problems. Number one, can I afford to have access to the technology? And then if I could afford that, and I do put myself in a position where I can live longer, will I be able to afford to live then? And so that's what kind of, Dawn and I, it started to change some of the things that are thinking about why we do what we do, why we're doing what we're doing, why we're speeding up, why we got on this path. And so we ended up getting introduced to one of these biohackers who is, he was a mortality specialist for the insurance companies. Basically, he could tell you when you're going to die, like within a month. Okay, 2027 in February, somewhere between the first and second week of February, you're going to die. And it's like, and ridiculous accuracy. And took a lot of things into account. Took your diet into account, took your blood work into account, took your gene work and understanding what genes you have and what nutrients you're not being able to process through your body. And what your lifestyle and all of that stuff and where you live and all that. And put that all, and so what they used him for was so that they could know how to charge for insurance, life insurance. And I'm not going to go into all of his, everything about him, because that's not what this is about. What this is about is we heard all that, and the question is, okay, maybe you can live to 150 years, maybe you can't. What if you could live to a really hyperactive 90? I mean, most people are falling apart, included, falling apart in their 50s and 60s. By the time they're in their 80s, they're looking for by the time they're in their 70s, most of them are looking for a couch. I saw a guy on a video yesterday, and his channel and his little slogan is "Old Not Dead." And what if you could be old and not dead? What if you could be, and some people are dead, they just don't know it yet. Their life is dead. They're still breathing, their heart's still pumping, but they're not living. They're not doing anything. And Dawn and I, when we started to see what was happening, and Dawn's the same way. I put my picture up there. I didn't put Dawn's information up there. But Dawn and I were both in the same place. We were both out of shape. We live on the 3rd floor, which we're talking 3 big floors, because number one, the building is off the ground because the ocean comes in, and if there's a flood because of hurricanes and so on and so forth, so the whole building's built up, number one, so you got that flight of stairs to get to, and then every floor is like 12-foot ceilings, and so you don't just have an 8-foot between floors, you've got 12 feet between floors. And then concrete floors, and I don't know how thick they are, but anyway. So they're very big stairs. And we would get to the top floor, and well, sometimes we wouldn't even get to the top floor. We would get to the 2nd floor, and we'd have to take a break, have a breather. That was not a good sign. We're both 61 years old, and we're struggling to get up 3 flights of stairs. Or call it 4 flights of stairs, just because of adding the extra room, right? Whatever. So 4 flights of stairs, and we're gassed. Not a good thing. And we've got all kinds of aches and pains. Dawn's got all kinds of stomach problems, all kinds of inflammation. All this stuff is going on. And we come back from Oklahoma, where we had a food fest. We're eating all this really bad food, delicious but not good for you food. And we get back, and Dawn is like, you know what? I'm gonna change my diet. I'm going to start eating better. I'm going to start cutting out carbs. And so she does. And that goes on for a couple months. Well, in the meantime, one of the things that we did when we were in Oklahoma was that we went and got blood work done. And we also got genetic testing done. Now, genetic testing is not something that I'd ever heard of or knew anything about. But we had heard through all this biohacking stuff that you have whatever, millions of genes or however many genes. I forget how many. Hi, Stacy. So you got all these genes in your body. But there are 5 genes, so there's genes for your eye color and your hair color and what color your skin's going to be and how long your arms are going to be. Do they drag the ground? And does your chin stick out and do you have shitty teeth and, shitty eyes and all? Like, that's all in your genes, right? So all this stuff is in your genes, but there are things about your actual health. And there's 5 of them. And these 5 genes basically tell your body to do things, turn things on, turn things off, be able to take food that you ingest and then convert that food into usable resource for your body to replenish itself, to rebuild itself, and all of this. And so it sounded really intriguing to us. And then the other thing that we heard was, once you get your gene test, you only do it one time in your entire life. You never have to get a gene test ever again, because your genes are your genes. They are what they are. You can change your DNA, you can change your blood work, you can change a lot of things, but your DNA is your genes are your genes. And so it's like, so we're going to get this gene test. So we get this gene test done. We come back to Belize, and we're finally back home. And it was, I don't know, a month or so later. Now, Dawn's already starting to eat right. I'm stubborn. I'm like, I'm getting ready to get ready. I'm almost ready. And so I'm getting ready to get started on this eating right. And then we end up meeting with a telemed doctor. And a doctor who is, and there's a bunch of them, and there's more and more that are happening now, that are getting on board with understanding that what they were taught about the human body did not go into anything about nutrition and the nutrients and how the genes and how your body and how your, let me scroll this because there we go. how your body responds and how it can rebuild itself based on nutrients and things, peptides and whatnot that you're not getting because of what either you're eating something that's blocking things, turning off like your thyroid or whatever. Like there's a whole thing with your genes that your thyroid works fine. It's like you got a thyroid problem, we're going to put you on thyroid medicine when your thyroid isn't the problem. The problem is that the stuff you're eating or the stuff you're not eating is affecting your, it's not getting to the thyroid. It's not sending the signal to the thyroid to get busy. So it's not that the thyroid doesn't work, it's just not getting the signal. But doctors don't even know that shit. So what ended up happening is these doctors started hearing this. In fact, we saw an interview with this gentleman with a bunch of doctors, and they're all calling him a quack and a charlatan, and there's no way, and blah, blah. He knows more about the body. He's not a doctor, but he knows more about the human body than most doctors do because they were taught about how the functions work, but not what the cause that triggers all that stuff. And more importantly, they were taught how to treat it was with meds, better life through chemistry. And so what ended up happening is he did a talk for a bunch of doctors, and he had asked the question, how many of you for treating patients with pre-existing conditions, more importantly with hereditary pre-existing, like diabetes and heart disease. That runs in my family, like I got it from my dad or whatever. And it was like, how many of you are treating patients that have these problems? And, what about heart disease? Anybody, hereditary heart disease? And some doctor's hands goes up in the room. How about diabetes? Any hereditary diabetes, blah, 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 and room hands. And he's hitting all these different things. Hypertension and on and on and on and on. Attention deficit disorder, blah, 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 blah. Then he says, tell me, please, since it's genetic, and it's hereditary, right? So it's genetic. Tell me which gene creates that. And no hands went up. Well, surely if it's hereditary, it's genetic, then there must be a gene that causes that. Which gene is it? And none of them could tell him. And he said, well, I'll tell you what it is. And he started naming off the genes that were responsible. And he said, and the problem is, the condition that they're experiencing hypertension, ADD, ADHD, heart disease, all of these different things were not a cause from a gene. They weren't passed on to the gene. What was passed on was a defective gene that was not able, and Don wrote it in the chat, was not able to methylate. In other words, convert, like for instance, when they pour crude oil out of the ground, they have to convert it and methylate it into gasoline so you can put it in your car. You can't just put crude oil in your car, it won't run. So they have to methylate the gasoline, the fuel, and refine it so that gasoline can run the car. Well, the same thing is true with the body, that you bring in materials, but if your body cannot convert it and methylate it, and convert it into gasoline that your body can use, then it does you no good. And so what ends up happening is you end up not being able to convert foods into the proper fuels. So we're hearing all this and we're like, whoa. So we get on the phone with this doctor, and the doctor's going over our numbers. Now, we did both. We did gene work and we did blood work. The doctor gets on the phone with Dawn, and it's like, she thought Dawn was about 60 pounds heavier than she was and about 20 years older, based on the numbers. Now, Dawn's already been eating right, but it's, there's still some things going on. Now, Dawn, if you know her, everybody I think gets on here knows Dawn, fitness trainer. She's tried all the diets and da-da-da-da-da-da, and on and on and on and on. She's trying all this stuff and nothing's, and it's just guess. And so we meet with this doctor. This doctor says, okay, here's the thing, and goes through every single thing. We spend an hour each with her, so 2 hours on the phone with this, or video chat with this doctor, going through, this is what's going on here, 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 here. These are all blood related, but they are all the cause of genetic mutations that you guys have. And you have this one, Lucky, and this one, and Dawn's got this one, and this one. This is working 0%. This one's working 40 to 60%, and so on and so forth. And here's what the problem is, that your body is not able to process this, process that, do this. And so you're starving your body out. And you can take all the supplements you want. You can just take supplements for the sake of supplements, and you have no idea. This is why, by the way, if somebody says, well, what supplements are you guys taking? I want to get on those because that's going to make me younger too. No, it won't. Because if you don't have the exact same chemical makeup that I have, then they're not going to work for you. And so this is what we found out. And it was like, holy crap. So we ended up spending a little bit of money, and quite a bit of money. And we ended up, well, the testing wasn't a lot of money, and some of the supplements were a lot of money, but we ended up getting on hormones, peptides, and vitamins specific to what was not working for us. And this was about 4 months ago when this all started. We both go hardcore, cutting out the sugar, eating no super low carbs, like under 20 carbs, and Dawn probably under 10, probably me too, about 15 carbs a day, something like that. And then something else, and this is the thing that is also underrated. I'm 61 years old. I think I look pretty damn good for 61 years old, other than some gray. Here's the thing, I feel fucking amazing. I feel incredible. Like, my feet don't hurt anymore. I just have so much more energy. I'm sleeping, like, we go to bed. I wake up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning, but I'm going to bed at 8, 9 o'clock. So I'm getting like 6, 7 hours of sleep. And it's the best 6, 7 hours of sleep I've ever had. If I sleep 6 hours, sometimes I sleep 5 hours and I wake wide up, and I don't take a nap later. Like, I have more energy than I've ever had. I feel literally 10 years younger, and it's only been 4 months. They said, just wait. Give it 6 months to a year. You're going to feel 20 years younger. And they're not, and they said, we're not exaggerating. We know people who have been doing this and on this, and they said the exact same thing. It's like 4 months, you're just getting warmed up. So 10 months. Here's another thing that we do. Red light therapy. You guys aren't doing red light therapy. Increases collagen, reduces wrinkles and improved skin. Pain relief. It reduces inflammation. Enhanced muscle recovery. So if you're working out, that's the other thing we started doing, working out, obviously. And I'm not talking going to an hour a day at the gym. I started with 15 minutes of working on the elliptical machine. And then I graduated to 30 minutes after several weeks. And then I started weightlifting. And I'm not lifting heavy. The heaviest weight we got in the gym is 25 pounds. It's lightweight. I'm doing it now I'm up to like 40 minutes. Dawn started me off at 20 minutes. Just 20 minutes. Like, you know how easy it was? It was like, and she started me on 10 pounders. I felt like a complete wuss. I was embarrassed. Like, I'm on 10 pounders. And she's like, I'll make 10 pounds feel like 100 pounds. Don't worry. I got you. But this is all the thing we were doing. So enhanced recovery, joint mobility, increased serotonin, which makes you feel good, feel better, and also better sleep. Also grounding. Doing either grounding outside in sand, dirt, grass, or on a PEMF mat, which we have, because sometimes the weather's not amazing, and sometimes, going outside, just don't have time, because we do have a really busy schedule. So we have a PEMF mat, pulsating electromagnetic mat. We lay on that for 20 minutes. Grounding, that does the same thing. It reduces inflammation, improves sleep, reduces stress, and increases circulation. And circulation is another thing. And that moves into also deep breathing. I'm not as, I don't, like, there's something called Wim Hof breathing. I'm not doing that yet, but I am breathing deeply when I'm on the mat to increase the oxygenating your body. And then also infrared therapy. We also do infrared therapy, improve circulation, muscle recovery, stress reduction, and detoxification. And then in addition to that, hormones, peptides, and vitamins. These are the things that we have been doing for the last month. And if you saw that picture, I know some people thought maybe I'm poking my stomach out. No, it's just how I stood because of all the extra weight, and my back was so messed up. And then you see the after. I'm starting to get a 6-pack, barely on the top. I got a 3-pack. Dawn said maybe by June, I might have a full 6-pack. I've still got a little bit of fat on my tummy and a little bit on my ass. But that is melting away. The inflammation is going away. The recovery is so much faster. I feel 10 years younger. And the reason why I wanted to tell you this is because you can have all the money. Dawn and I talk about money a lot, right? Because we didn't have any. We went for a long time where we were doing okay. We were doing better probably than most. But we also got wiped out in a blink of an eye. I mean, all of it gone. And overnight, just boom. And then lost our boat overnight, literally to a hurricane, gone. We ended up moving to this island and we start building a business online. We start working in financial instruments and investments and all kinds of different stuff. So we're doing all that. Now we're making money. Guess what? Money doesn't do shit if you don't have your health. I don't think that there's anybody that if you, I heard somebody was talking, who is it? I think it was Dana White, said he only had so many years to live. And if somebody said, and I don't know what his net worth is, several hundred million, probably maybe he's a billionaire, I don't know. But here's the thing. He said, if somebody told me that I could get 10 more years to live, I'd give them all my money and I'd start over. Because the money don't mean shit if you're not around to spend it. And if it just means staying hooked up to the right hoses and tubes and wearing a mask and watching TV, that ain't life either. And so you got to have your health. And so I tell you that because I don't want you thinking that whatever your situation is, that there are so many problems that can be solved. Start scouring the internet. If reach out to Dawn and I, we will point you in the direction of the people that we've researched, the people that we follow. Dawn is actually an ambassador for one of the health companies that we take all of their stuff. We can help you in that area as well. But anyway, the fact is that I could give you this big, long sales pitch. Here's the bottom line. I feel better than I've ever felt. I think, and you can't tell that, but do I look any better? Do you think you could look a little better? Absolutely you could. And you could absolutely feel better. So I just wanted to put that out there. It's 3:30 and I'm actually on time this time. I just wanted to throw that out there and say that it's no accident that I look and feel 10 years younger. And I just say this, keep watching. Our life is about to explode in ways that you never even imagined. We are working on some things with business. We are working things with money. We are working on our health. We are working things and the relationship is pretty much on autopilot now. I'm more in love with Dawn Reed after 10 years than I was the day I met her, if that's possible. And it clearly is, because she's more than she was when I met her. I loved everything she was. She's more than she was then. And so there's more to love. Less a body to love, but more everything else to love. Because now she's getting all skinny and shit. Anyway, thank you, Jen. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Dawn Reed. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. Now you've got something to do. Get on the internet and get on YouTube and start doing some research. And then reach out to Dawn if you want to know some of the things or what we do specifically. We will never share, and this is true with money. This is true with relationships. This is true with anything. We will share in private what's going on. We're not going to share everything in public, because as soon as you share something public, then somebody's going to take and go, oh, that's what I need to do, or that's what I should do. No, it's not. And so we will share in private. But in the meantime, have a great weekend. We love you guys, and we get to start doing happy hour in about 30 minutes with a group of our people. And so see y'all later. Have a wonderful day.